We are now recording, and here is the beginning of Stream the Machine, episode 5.
J-Lo's new song, Jenny from the Block, all about Lopez roots, about how she's still a neighborhood gal at heart. But folks from that street in New York, the Bronx section, sound more likely to give her a curb job than a blow job or block party. The New York Post, sorry about that slip up there. I have no idea how that happened. But it won't happen again. And that's your news. I have no idea how that happened.
You are listening to a Fly Science Productions podcast. Welcome to Stream the Machine. Good morning, everybody. I am Jake Mercer. I am your host for Stream the Machine. Today is April 19th, 2014. It is now 10:35. We're a little closer on schedule. And with me, as always, is my partner in crime, Tony DePalma. How you doing today?
Doing all right. How's everybody doing listening in?
Well, now we're going to have to wait for them to get there because it's 30 seconds delayed on the stream. We'll wait, and then we'll read everybo's responses. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. No, but good day. That clip at the top of the show.
Yeah.
I was just kind of looking for random stuff before the show this morning, and it's an old clip from, I think it said 2002. I mean, gee, how long has it been since you heard Jenny from the Block? But it was Shepard. It was Shepard Smith, who's, I think he's still on Fox News, but I died when I heard that. That was great.
Yeah,
just his slip up and
I had to basically cover my mouth to stop myself from not laughing.
That was good. And then now we have
I have no idea how that happened.
I have no idea how that happened. This last week, I got a PS4, which is one thing I wanted to bring up.
A few claps for Jake.
Clap, clap, clap. Loving it. Really cool machine. Obviously, it's since it's a console, it's one of those things that you buy and then you're set. You're set for like the next generation, sort of. So it's got a sort of a finality to it. When you're doing computer stuff or whatever, it doesn't. You're kind of always in a mode of upgrading and building. But
yeah, for sure.
No, I'm really enjoying it. I got 2 games I got for it. It was Dynasty Warriors. Huge fan of that, and Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, which is the little prequel to the full Metal Gear Solid.
I do have a question about the Ground Zeroes game.
Okay.
If I have never played a Metal Gear game, am I able to jump in to Ground Zeroes to play 5, or am I going to have to get like that Legacy Collection and play through the beginning? What would you recommend?
It really depends on how much time you'd have, and B, how much time you're willing to devote to actually trying it out. Because, okay, straight up answer, technically, yes, you can start Ground Zeroes and not have to have played any of the prior games. Anything like that. The only one it really hinges on is Peace Walker, which was a PSP game. They remastered it for PS3 and Xbox, and that I think is part of the remastered collection. Peace Walker is the only one that it kind of is. It takes place directly after that one, which takes place around the Cuban Missile Crisis. And this one starts just in the 70s, and kind of will go on to the 80s. I won't reveal much more, but. You probably wouldn't have to play the others. I would say, though, at least play... I think people should at least play Peace Walker before they were to start. But the whole series is amazing to me, so I would also recommend people just to play the entire series.
Right.
But that would take a lot of time. No, but I wanted to bring up the PS4 first, actually, because huge Dynasty Warriors fan. Dynasty Warriors is actually based on a story called Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Now, Dynasty Warriors has always been interesting to me because it's a mix of it's like very if I had to break it up into percentages, it's about 25% like historical basis, and then about 75% mythical. And by mythical, I mean not like, you know, creatures or, you know, anything like that. I mean mythical, like, maybe I should just say legend.
Okay.
The people that it surrounds, that it mentions, you know, 90% of them were actual people and were actually affiliated and did, you know, a good portion of the things that are depicted in the game, and all that other kind of stuff.
I never knew that. When I played it, I used to play with my cousin all the time, and we just hacked up bad guys.
Right.
That's we got with it.
And see, my nephew and I used to play it all the time. My nephew Avery and I, we started with Dynasty Warriors 3, and that was, you know, had never played a game like that before, because I was all into RPGs when I was a kid, and it blew my mind how fun it was. Now, so let me give you some backstory on Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Basically, like I said, okay, all this stuff happens, right? At least some of it. A guy named, oh shoot, I can't remember his full name. It's Luo Zhang, I think is his first name, but I can't remember his last name. And his first and last might be Luo Zhang. Anyways, basically sees all this and goes, you know what, I'm going to write a story about it. I'm going to use a lot of these realistic battles, but I'm going to also kind of put my own twist into some things. And so that's what he does, is he basically writes this huge epic. It's like, it's regarded as one of the best pieces of literature that's ever come out of China. It's old too. Like, I don't know if it said like, oh shoot, I can't remember, but it's old. It's like, you know, more than a couple 100 years. And he basically just sort of writes the story using all of the major points in history, but then also writing a bunch of subplots that, you know, aren't exactly truthful, or taking like a little bit of liberty. It's almost like, and I didn't see it and I didn't read it, but I think of sort of like an Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter type of thing.
Yeah.
Only not as dumb. And because, like I said, there's really not like there's no like magic or anything. You know, it's like, it's not like when I said myth, it's not like that. It's just straight up like war drama. Anyway, so Dynasty Warriors is based on...
They cut down a tree with a single axe swing.
Yeah, pretty much that kind of stuff. So I bought the book, finally, because I'm really excited. I've been a huge fan of the series. I bought Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I had to get the unabridged version. It's the one I bought, at least, is 5 big hardback textbooks that have the Chinese translation on the left side of the page, and then on the right pages it has all of the English written stuff. So it's basically the book twice. I'm really excited to get it and read it. I'm like on a huge Dynasty Warriors kick at the moment, and you know, I surprisingly, I've heard it's a really easy read, and that the English actually reads a little bit better than the Chinese. That the translation the guy did, he actually translated and used a lot better flow with a lot of the words and everything.
It's really cool. Like, I didn't know any of this about Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, there's, you know, so what I think
makes me appreciate it a little bit more.
Right, and like I said, it's all kind of sensationalized, but it's a lot of fun to see it, because a lot of them, like I said, are actual historic battles. I remember reading about there's a guy named Zhang He, and he's in the game, and then I remember in high school actually learning about him being a pirate captain. And he's the only guy that I ever actually learned about in high school that was in the games. I'd never heard about anybody else. But if you Wikipedia, you know, any list from the thing, you're not going to get a link to the actual game. You get links to the actual people, because 9 times out of 10, unless it was one of the characters he made up for the story, it was actually a historical character that lived and, you know, did some cool things, I guess, that warranted having a book and a game series.
Yeah.
So
nice.
But you mentioned this week that your computer parts were all in, correct?
Yeah.
Finally, we talked about that, I think, last week. You were waiting for some parts to arrive.
I got my first part I got last June. So near 10 months ago.
What was that? What did you get?
I got my graphics. I got a graphics card for now.
Cool.
And that's what kind of started this whole thing. I was like, because I couldn't afford at the time to buy all these parts, but I was like, I'll buy a part when I have extra money. Slowly but surely I'll have a computer.
Right, yeah.
Took me a lot longer than I expected.
Yeah, computers are expensive, unfortunately.
Yeah. But, so I finally get all my parts in, I think Monday. And then I go to my uncle's house on Wednesday. And he's the uncle that gave me the graphics card.
Okay.
And I asked if he'd help me build it, because I've never built a computer before from the ground up.
It's not, as much as I've been around computers, I needed help building mine as well. Because I know a lot about the software, but when it comes to hardware, definitely need someone who has a better idea.
I mean, I've done upgrades with my laptops, like swapping out hard drives and RAM, but I mean, there's a lot more that goes.
There is a lot more.
So I just felt more comfortable with some assistance.
Sure.
But so we get everything like in the case, get everything plugged in, got the power supply going everywhere, put my new fans in, and we boot up, and I can boot to USB. I get the install Windows drive. I install Windows on my SSD, and as it's booting up again to like actually start Windows,
right,
power supply just stops. It doesn't even like give me a warning. It doesn't like even beep or flash screen. It just stops and everything goes black. Like I didn't notice it at first because I was still like tinkering around with my case.
Right.
Look over and the screen's dead and nothing's lit up on my computer.
So did the power supply fry then?
That's my best guess. It's because we took a voltage meter to it, but and tested it out. But I'm not sure if that's accurate because we didn't have a load on it, so I couldn't tell. But it's my best guess is the power supply because it just wouldn't turn on. Nothing on the case started glowing. I double checked all the connections, but
so now it's
real buzzkill.
So now you got to get a new power supply.
Pretty much. And I've been looking forward to this for almost a year now.
What a bummer.
As it when it first booted up, I installed Windows, I was like, yes. I was like, this is the happiest I'd been in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such
comes crashing back down. I was just like, I quit.
What a bummer. It's the end of the semester for you at
Yeah, I was getting there.
You're at ICC? Or Bradley?
ICC.
ICC, okay.
Yeah. Exams are getting kind of crazy. There's like a month left of class, and in one class I have 3 exams left.
Dang, in 1 month.
Mm-hmm. Part of it is just unfortunate scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
A week and a half ago, it was on a Wednesday, I don't remember the exact date. 2 Wednesdays ago.
Okay. It works for me. I'm terrible at dates, so.
2 Wednesdays ago, we had this exam. It's my only class on Wednesday is this accounting class from 1 to 3:30. I get there, there's a sign on the door saying it's canceled for Monday, which that in itself kind of pissed me off because you could send an email, save me the gas.
Yeah. In this day and age, as much as teachers are going to, we've got Blackboard now and you can do everything online, and then all of a sudden, hey, by the way, I'm just going to put a note up on the door because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
That would make me mad.
So I drive all the way back home, and I'm like, well, it gives me more time to study. So I study some more, and then it's rescheduled for Monday. Come Sunday, I get stomach flu, and I'm puking and a whole bunch of nasty things.
Right,
the next day, so I miss it then. I go to then the ICC has this testing center. I don't know if you ever used it.
I haven't. I've heard about it, but I never know.
Yeah, if you miss an exam, the teachers send extra copies to this testing center where they have rooms where you can make up exams. Mm. And so I email them like, hey, I can take it Tuesday. On Tuesdays, I have 0 class. So this time I drove all the way out there just to take this exam.
Okay.
And it's not there.
No paper, so they didn't send it to the testing
center.
center.
Exam. The second time I went to go take it. So then that, again, just pissed me off because I drove all the way out there for nothing when he said I could take it Tuesday.
Yeah, that's...
I have no idea how that happened.
Is that what they told you? When you showed up, you said, hey, where's... I'm supposed to be here for a test.
Pretty much.
I have no idea how that happened.
I have no idea where it's gone.
Yeah.
I have no idea where your test is.
And then So the testing center calls him and they're like, hey, my professor's name is Adam Satkamp, and he is my favorite teacher. Besides this exam fiasco,
until now, he was.
Yeah. Like, he's a cool guy, but it was just making me so mad. So I call him Tuesday, leave him a message, say, hey, this is Brenda in the testing center. I got Tony LaPalma here down with me. He needs to take an accounting exam. If you could just send one over when you get the time. He'll come back tomorrow and take it. So then I leave frustrated, go home. So then Wednesday, I have my class at 1, but I was like, I'll go over there at 10, take this test before class. Get there at 10, guess what's still not there? My exam.
The test, I'm assuming, is where we're going with that one.
So then, it's just been
and so
way
you
more
say,
hectic than it needs to be.
ridiculous, and there's a folder on his desk, and you're like, what's in that folder?
Put like some of your ham in here.
But no test.
I have no idea how that happened.
No idea.
Yeah, so long story short, Tony's angry because I just want to get this test over.
Want to get your goddamn test done, but they won't let you. What a bummer. And see, for me, my problem was they were trying to get me to take the tests, and I just wouldn't show up to class. So, no, not really. I was just a poor test taker. Luckily, skipping tests will not get you arrested. You know what will get you arrested?
What's that?
Tweeting terrorist comments to American Airlines.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
I pulled 2 articles out of the news today to just include here. Did you hear about this? The girl that
I did.
First of all,
tweets.
What a dumbass! But yeah. It was. Oh shoot! What was I doing? I was talking to Ross about something earlier this week. We were talking about, I think, DayZ, and he was in the middle of talking to me, and I looked over and I saw this, and I clicked on the article, and I kept reading the rest of her tweets, and they were so stupid and just
I know.
ridiculously mundane and everything, and I got so caught up in it that I just kept reading and reading and reading. And no, the girl's a moron. But so for those of you who don't know, I'm sure some of you do, girl from Denmark, Daneland, Denmark, tweets American Airlines and says, "Hi, my name is Ahmed or Samir," or something that had, that was
Ibrahim.
Okay, there you go. It was definitely a Middle Eastern name. And said, "I've got very special plans for you on June 1st," or whatever. Just gave us some date and said, "I've got something I want to do." And
that she's a member of Al Qaeda.
Yes.
That's the big part.
And so they comment back and say, we have to take this seriously. We're giving the FBI your IP address and this, that, and the other. Well, first of all, I don't think they have access to her IP address. That was one of the things that I read up. And hold on a second. What's really bothering me? We've got, I don't know if it's picking up on the mic at all, but we have some kind of rodent in our attic. And he'll like scratch the wood, like scratch the floor or something, like he's trying to kind of get through. And usually it's not too loud, but today he is going to town. Like I don't know if the mic's picking it up, but I can just hear him up there just trying to crawl through. I'm afraid he's going to fall on me in the middle of the show. So yeah, sorry about that. That was annoying the crap out of me. So yeah, they say that they're going to turn her into FBI. Well, guess what? A couple days later, chick gets arrested. I didn't read any more of her tweets, but
my favorite one was after she had like freaked out about she's not really terrorist, was, "Guys, I can't tell my mom and dad about this. They would make me delete my Twitter and my life would be over."
Oh my god.
Like,
yeah,
without Twitter, she's powerless.
And you know what? I mean, exactly. She gained like 15,000 followers, I saw, from this whole thing.
Yeah, she bragged about how many retweets she got from the fake terrorist threat.
What a moron. And then quickly, another one. Christ Bear. Have you ever been listening to that guy's rap? Christ Bear?
Is it Christ Bear or Christ Bearer? Like the animal bear?
Christ Bearer, as in he comes bearing Christ, I guess, is how that's supposed to be interpreted. Andre Johnson is his muggle name. So apparently he's a rapper. The article I saw said that he's part of the Wu-Tang family. Not the Wu-Tang Clan, but the Wu-Tang family, quote unquote, as according to their website. So I'm assuming that he must be on some kind of similar record label or something, or, you know, does work with Wu-Tang on, you know, a regular basis, whatever. Christ Bearer. Dude's on top of a building. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where it's going to get mildly graphic, so avert your eyes.
Or cover your ears.
Or cover your ears. Earmuffs, as Will Ferrell would say. Was it Will Ferrell, or was it...
It's Vince Vaughn.
Oh,
That one was a little kid.
Old school,
Earmuffs.
at least, is what it was. Earmuffs.
Yeah.
Okay, dude severs his... the medical term would be the penis. Severs his penis. He's on top of a building, cuts his something off, and then jumps off his 2-story apartment building onto the ground.
Oh, there's only 2 stories?
I think it was. I'm almost positive, because he lived. He didn't die.
Yeah.
I thought that I read that it was 2 stories.
See, I didn't read how tall the building was.
I could be wrong. I thought it was 2 stories, though. Either way, dude cuts his yang and then jumps off a building. For what reason?
Johnson cuts off his Johnson.
Pretty much. So, yeah. How did I not see the connection between Johnson and Johnson? That's...
It's just set up for you, man.
So, yeah. While he's in the hospital, they could not reconnect his dealy bopper. It's that's it. That's all she wrote. That's all he can do now is he's lost it. And
it's in the Wu-Tang No Wang clan. There's just so many of them, man.
Oh my God, the No Wang clan. Oh, God damn it. There's so much gold there. So yeah, a little bit of pre-news. Now we come on to actual news.
This just in other news.
Okay, so in other news, testicle squeeze prank lands Irish schoolboy in a medically induced coma. A teenager in Ireland thought squeezing his friend's testicles would make for a good prank during school lunch hour. The result wasn't very funny. His friend, a 17-year-old from the suburb of Artane in Dublin, suffered cardiac arrest as a heart attack for the layman out there. The young man was rushed to the hospital after school officials successfully performed CPR. I'm still laughing about the Wu-Tang No Wang. so freaking funny.
Put like some of your ham in here.
Well, they couldn't. Let's see. The young man was rushed to the hospital after school officials successfully performed CPR. Although the boy is apparently in stable condition, he remains in the ICU of a Dublin hospital, having been put in a medically induced coma to aid recovery. The family is hopeful that there is no permanent damage. Trauma to the testicles can cause extreme pain and also release a huge amount of adrenaline. A heart attack, sorry, this is in quotes, a heart attack would certainly result from severe testicular pain from squeezing. Dr. Erwin Goldstein, urologist and director of San Diego Sexual Medicine. What is that? Is that a magazine or something? San Diego Sexual Medicine? Sounds like a magazine. I bet you it's probably just a
magazine or like.
Let's look this up. San Diego. Oh, maybe it's just a plate. It's just an institute.
What?
It sounded like a magazine title to me. Director of San Diego Sexual Medicine Hospital is what they should have thrown on there or something. Anyways, yeah. In other news, squeezing testicles hurts and could cause a heart attack.
That sketched me out because I've taken some decent nut shots in my day. Like
they hurt. They're the worst.
Yeah, my worst one is paintballing.
Oh,
I'm behind a bunker and I pop out. I just stick my right leg out, and
just a little too far.
Just a little, and I would rather just take one straight to the face.
Yeah. 100 times. Yes, because
a walk down there is not cool.
No, not at all. I've been nicked by accident. Like getting up off of a couch or doing this. Doing something that doesn't require it. Heck, there's one time. I remember this instance specifically because I was in math class, and I was sitting on the desk, or sitting in my chair, and I had my elbow on the desk, and I was propping my head up. And the teacher was walking by, kind of giving her a lesson. And my book, for whatever reason, was either on the edge or I hit it with my other arm or something. And the edge fell right off into my crotch.
Oof. And
the teacher, as a female, just started laughing, but also like being like concerned. She was like, "Are you okay?" and was cracking up, and I was laughing. It was funny. It barely missed me, but yeah, man, that's no fun. There's big damage, apparently enough to cause heart attacks. So, no, thank you. Let's see here. Nebraska toddler gets stuck inside a bear claw toy machine at a bowling alley.
Nice. How old is this toddler?
3-year-old.
3-year-old?
Nebraska 3-year-old who escaped, and I'm gonna send this via Skype just so you can see the picture. Let me see. Of the don't click on the video, but there's a picture there of the guy, of the little kid in the thing. The Nebraska 3-year-old who escaped from his mother's Lincoln apartment was discovered in a nearby bowling alley, but he wasn't interested in rolling 10 frames. Oh, the puns. Cale Ireland was found inside the bear claw machine at Madsen's Bowling and Billiards after he somehow wandered into the establishment and crawled up the game's prize slot. So, how big is the prize slot?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
Do you see that kid? Do you see, like, he's not a small kid. He's...
Oh. But it's not that big of a, like, they have some, like, oversized machines. This is just, like, your average...
No, it's what you would think a claw machine or something like that would look like. It's exactly the same size. A patron-informed bartender, Rachel Hildreth, about the toddler's presence, and a worker from the company that owns the machine was called to let him out. He was just having a heyday, Hildreth told the Journal Record. He didn't notice anyone around him. He was just having fun in there. I don't think he wanted to get out. Meanwhile, the boy's mother, 24-year-old Ashley Ireland, noticed he was gone and called police immediately. They found the boy in the machine happily playing with stuffed animals, and he was quickly reunited with his mother. The lucky lady even got to keep a purple teddy bear. I'm just still shocked that he was able to climb up there, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. It's like every little kid's dream, and he achieved it.
And
props to him.
She's a young mother. Even at 3 years old, I would be a little concerned that if my kid walked away from my side even for a second, that something bad would be happening.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't have thought that, hey, my kid's probably in a claw machine. But it wouldn't have, you know. But what are you going to do, I guess? At least you get to keep the toys.
Yeah.
So we talked about, what is it, sassy sluts last week with teachers?
Yeah.
Florida teacher fired after allegedly ordering a hit on 7th grade student.
What?
A Florida school board has decided to fire a teacher who allegedly ordered a group of 6 boys to attack a younger student to teach him a lesson. During the incident, 7th grade student Redravius Williams, these names, told teacher Drew Dayhart that he wished he could curse out teachers someday. She apparently didn't like what she heard and allegedly asked 6 8th graders to attack Williams. According to reports, the boys picked up Williams by the neck and made him forcibly apologize to the teacher. She made a very poor decision that day, a school district representative said. She used students to carry out discipline. The boy's mother, Latasha Darasaw, said that she has yet to receive an apology. As a person and as a parent, you would like some kind of apology, but I guess we will get that whenever she's ready. It's been rough, and we as a family have been dealing with it. Williams' family may soon be filing a civil suit. Let's see.
See, that's, like, kind of, I would be terrified if that was that little boy.
Yeah, that's a little weird. That that kind of falls in line with the whole sassy sluts thing. Like, what are you doing? Like, what even goes through your mind that you think, okay, like, I'm probably not going to lose my job over this.
It's like mafia thinking right there.
Yeah, actually,
disrespecting me, I'll show him. Boys, get him.
Pretty much.
No timeout.
They've got a clip here at the very end. I'm just going to play it. They said, what exactly happened? And hold on, here it is. Let's see.
I have no idea how that happened.
Oh, okay. So, no, that was just the guy from earlier. I don't know, man. That's weird to me. Ordering people to attack other people. It happens enough. Do we really need teachers encouraging it as well?
Yeah. When you first read the article title, I thought you meant like
an actual
Craigslist hired like someone to actually kill this kid.
Yeah, I thought that too.
I was
a tad misleading.
Literally, it was just schoolboys beating up schoolboys by the teacher. but it's still messed up.
Yeah. Oregon mother sues school after son is suspended for saying teacher needs... hold on a second. I think my browser is cutting off half the article here. Okay, here we go. Sues school after son is suspended for saying teacher needs to be shot on Facebook. An Oregon mother has filed a lawsuit against her son's school district after he was suspended for getting on social media and making death threats against his health teacher because she gave him a C and got him grounded. When Veronica Bauk gave him the mediocre grade... C is average, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Like,
Yeah,
C is
degrees.
not the greatest. I admit, there's B's and there's A's. But guess what? C is like, you're still not doing terrible yet. D, yes, that is below average. Get your game together. You know what I mean? But like, oh, come on. We keep seeing C as such a major... Anyways. 16-year-old Braden Burge called her a, quote, bitch who needs to be shot on his Facebook page. Let's see here.
Did it say how old this kid is? Or did you already say
16-year-old. 16-year-old. I just noticed that every time I've been grounded in middle school, it's because of Miss Buck. I wish she would just get fired, haha, but I doubt that'll ever happen. His mother, along with the ACLU Foundation of Oregon, has filed a suit against the Colton District alleging First and 14th Amendment violations. Has filed a suit against the school district. Let's see. Kelly Burge claims the district had no right to suspend her son for comments he made from the privacy of his own home outside of school hours and while not participating on school-sponsored activity.
I don't understand those parents. For one, they're like, let's punish him for getting C's. That I can kind of see.
Yeah.
Like, but now, let's reward him for making death threats.
Yeah, he got suspended, so let's go ahead and sue the school. Like, your kid's a dumbass. What more needs to be said? Like, my parents would slaughter me if I had said that in high school. If I had said, that person needs to be shot. In fact, you know what? I have one vivid memory of, like, the first time I ever got on some chat room when I was really young. And they were doing a lot of role-playing in the chat room. So, like, text role-playing, is like, freaking, I slash my sword at this guy and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, just sort of, like, writing out your actions. And I had put, because I was Solid Snake, that's who I was pretending to be. I had said something about, like, I shoot you in the head and headshot, I win or something. Because I was fighting Dr. Octopus, and Dr. Octopus was like, no, I block your bullets and I cut you up and something. My mother came in and saw it, and I was super young. But immediately was like, get off, you can't do this. You can't, and, she didn't understand at the time what sort of that role-playing thing was, and that it was role-playing and not just everybody throwing death threats.
I'm going to shoot you in the face.
Right, but at the same time, it's like you've got a young kid saying, I'm going to shoot you, and you don't know what the context is, It's like, here we do know the context, and they're still not really... doing much about it as far as, like, you shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems weird, I feel like most parents probably would have been like my mother and said, I'm going to shoot first. Well, no pun intended, but shoot first, ask questions later. I'm going to stop you on that chat, and then we'll talk about it. Rather than, oh, you said this on freaking Facebook? Well, let's go ahead and sue the person, and then we'll get to it later.
It's freedom of speech, not freedom of consequences. Like... You can say whatever you want, but it might get you in trouble. Like the girl on Twitter.
Yeah. You
tweet threats, but like it's a threat. Is exactly what it is.
Hold on. I'm going to send you something. We have. I wish I had some kind of breaking news. Let me see here. Here's our breaking news. Coming through the line here. Wow, that really goes on forever, doesn't it? Hold on. So Rachel, my significant other, just sent me this link, and I'm going to send it to you. This is great radio. But so it's this link apparently of a satellite photo. This is from Google Satellite, or like their satellite view. Of something in the water that looks like a big, giant something or other. They're saying the Loch Ness Monster, but I'd highly doubt that that's... Obviously, it's just a sensationalized thing, but... Or no, let's see. Google satellite imagery used from Apple Maps. So, okay, it looks like someone found it with Apple Maps, but Apple apparently uses Google's stuff, I guess?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Google's everywhere.
Yeah. They said it could just be an Easter egg left by some Apple employee. But this kind of stuff always interests me. How crazy is that? A little satellite image.
Is this Loch Ness or what?
Right. I'm going to go ahead and post this
Where
on
what does it say?
The Facebook page.
I can't find it.
Oh, well, they're asking if it's the Loch Ness Monster. I don't know where the lake is, no.
Okay, that's what I was curious. Like, where it doesn't say where this photo was taken on Apple Maps.
No, and if you look at the first comment, it looks like it says it's a certain type of shark. I'm going to post this on the Facebook page for anyone who is interested. I just posted it, and you can take a look and see what we were talking about. That way, this visual segment isn't completely lost on you. Okay, so back to your regularly scheduled programming. Okay, so
I don't want to go swimming anymore.
Oh, I'm always scared of what lies beneath. A college student manages to lose Wheel of Fortune puzzle even with all the letters revealed. Did you hear about this week?
Oh, yes, that video.
Okay, so yeah, I have a few clips from it. Let's see. I'll read the article first. During an appearance of Wheel of Fortune, an Indiana University student's Achilles heel was revealed in extreme painful fashion. Haha. Julian Batts lost out on his chance for a car, a trip to Jamaica, and $1 million after he was unable to correctly pronounce mythological hero Achilles, despite having the puzzle completely revealed. So the Photoshop or the photos for this, the whole thing is revealed. It says mythological hero Achilles up on the board, not a single letter missing. I've got a clip from his first fail here. So here's how it is. He guesses the letters and then tries to solve.
Can I solve?
Oh, well, that'd be a good idea, yeah.
Mythological hero Achilles.
Okay. Shelby.
I'll solve.
Yeah.
Mythological hero Achilles.
Yeah, that's it.
He's probably like, what a bitch, because she comes right in.
Did you happen to see the whole video?
Yes, I do have a couple others. Let's see here. Texas A&M student Shelby then swooped in and won after saying Achilles correctly. When it comes to names, even though the letters are up there because you had to solve it, which I see. What? When it comes to names, even though the letters are up there because you have to solve it, which is what you did. That makes no sense to me.
That is...
You have to say it, and Shelby said it. Pat Sajak. Thank you, Pat Sajak, who's been working on a show about words, but apparently knows nothing about sentence structure. Even with the blunder, Bats went on to win the game. That dude won?
Did he really?
There's 2 other parts where he loses. There's a Twitter post here that says, who feels worse, Julian or the 2 girls who lost to him? Because, okay, so let me play the others. Let me see. What was... Okay, so the second one, he ends up picking up the little pizza wedge for a car, and the thing that's on the board says the world's fastest blank, and the last word says blank a blank. So it's a 3-letter word with the middle letter A revealed. So it says the world's fastest, that's all revealed, and then blank with the middle letter A. He picked up car, as you know, like I said, he picked up that wedge. So this is what his response was.
300.
C.
Can I solve?
Yeah.
The world's fastest man.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, playing a joke on him. Because he picks up car, it's not actually the world's fastest car, you dummy. Now, I can, that one I can give him. Guess what? I probably would have thought that too. And so it sounds like the same girl who got him again. And then the last one, now shoot, I'm trying to think of what. Okay, so the last one, there was a bunch of letters missing, but here's the last clip of him trying to guess it.
Let's solve.
Go ahead.
On the spot dice spin.
Shelby?
On the spot decision.
Yeah, that's it.
That girl schooled him all 3 times. It was the same chick, Shelby. Okay. Bats appeared on Dice Spin. Yeah, that's so funny. Bats appeared on Good Morning America on Monday to discuss his roundabout route to victory and the Achilles debacle. It just kind of hit me like a train, and I didn't really know how to react to it. This is him, quoted, by the way. The game continued on, and another contestant from Texas A&M, she solved it, and it hit me right there and then that it was Achilles. I didn't feel like I made a mistake, but I felt like I solved the puzzle entirely, and all I had to do is read it, and I just went for it, and I did my best. Yeah, what's this guy care? He still won, apparently. So what shit does he give that
he lost out on a car and $1 million?
That's really... You know what? That is true, actually. He lost a lot.
He's, like, embarrassed to the entire country.
Yeah.
This video kind of blew up.
Let's see. Pat Sajak. I don't think anyone has ever taken a more circuitous route to victory, but the important thing is here is you won $11,000. So power to you. That's it for news today. Now we move on to trivia.
Challenge accepted.
Who do you want to go? Who went first last week? Did I go first?
Please. I went first last week.
Okay, so
it's your
then
turn.
I will go first. I tried to pick something that was something that you would pick that middle range of, like, you might know, you might not. I'm going to give you a abbreviation for a television station.
Okay.
You're going to tell me what it actually stands for, what the full name of it is.
All right. Let's do this.
And if you don't know, you say...
I have no idea how that happened.
And then I will move on to the next one. The first one is CMT.
Country music television.
That is correct.
I hate country, so I don't really know why I know that.
I tried to arrange these by difficulty, but it looks like there might be some easy ones toward the end. Second one is ABC.
I think it's American Broadcasting Company.
That is correct.
Yeah.
HSN.
Home Shopping Network.
Nice work. NBC.
National Broadcasting Company.
I was giving that one early. You're on a roll here. So you've got the first 4 correct. Here comes one of the ones that often can be confusing. HBO.
Home Box Office.
Nice work. Now here's one that I would never have known. But you're kind of a sports guy. ESPN.
Oh, snap.
I can tell you that the S probably stands for sports.
Ooh. See, this one, I don't watch ESPN because it's the same stuff
All the time.
told by different... Like, each show is the same content with different people telling it.
Right.
In my opinion.
Take that, ESPN.
Entertainment, sports, publication network. I have no idea.
You know what? I'm going to give you... what do I have here for this? It's a half. We're going to call that a half.
Okay.
It's Entertainment Sports Programming Network.
Programming network.
So, you know what? Good work. I wouldn't have ever thought probably Entertainment Sports. So nice work. TWC.
Oh. TW.
It helps if you've ever seen something on TWC, then you'll know exactly what it is.
I don't think I've ever seen anything on TWC.
Probably not, but... Take a guess at what the most obvious... Well, I don't want to say obvious because that's going to make it sound bad if you miss it, but whatever you think, like the most basic... I'm just making it worse.
What is W?
I don't know. Let's find out.
The West Channel.
All right, let's take a look at our judges here. Judges. Okay, no, that is incorrect. The Weather Channel.
The Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Dang it.
AMC.
American Movie Channel.
I'm going to give you another half. And
Oh, what a relief it is
A little bit of Alka-Seltzer there. American movie classics.
American movie classics.
FX.
I always just thought it was Fox without vowels. So I'm gonna say Fox Extreme. I have no idea.
I gotta quit giving you halves. You got Fox right. It's extended, but the X is capitalized and extended, and the E is not. Yeah, I never would have known that. That's stupid. Last one, A&E.
A and E.
Correct.
Or A
Yes. No.
and E?
Yeah. No. A and ampersand E. 2 letters, 1 symbol in the middle.
I don't know how that happened. Americans and Englishmen.
Now it's arts and entertainment.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they've got a lot of. Whenever I think of A&E, I always think of like documentaries and museums, because that's a lot of the stuff that they have on there.
I think of like antiques.
Yes. Yep. All that kind of stuff. Antiques and entertainment. Okay, you know what? So you had a good start, and hopefully you learned a little on the last couple there.
Yeah, dwindled down a little bit.
Yeah. Oh well. What are you gonna do?
But I seriously didn't think FX stood for anything. I thought it was Fox without vowels. Trying to be
You know
cool.
what? I probably would have thought so as well. There's a lot more. I had picked. There's so many of them that wouldn't have been guessed. That were on that list, but I only picked those. What do you have for me?
Well, it's kind of similar to the Pokemon one, but can you pick the Harry Potter spells and avoid the Latin names of animals?
Okay.
I don't know. Do you watch what? Have you read or watched Harry Potter?
I have. I'm going to say that I think I'm going to do all right on this.
All right.
Only because I've read the first 4 books. That's all I've read. I haven't read anything after that, but I know enough of the dumb spells, and I've heard enough people make jokes about it that I think I'm aware of them. So shoot them at me, and I'll see how it goes.
All right. We're gonna go Libera Corpus.
I'm going to say that is... So what's my other choice? If it's not Harry Potter, I say it's what, a Latin name?
It's an animal.
Okay, I'm going to say that's an animal.
That is correct. Wait. No, it's not. Never mind. I'm reading it. Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's, gosh.
Should have checked this.
Hard to please that crowd.
I have no idea how that happened.
I have no idea how that happened.
Trying to figure out how this site's working for this.
No, yeah, it's...
All right. Yeah, my bad for getting your hopes up.
No.
That's on me. That's on me.
It's all good.
All right.
Puts me in my place.
Rodentia.
Oh, boy. I'm going to say animal again.
That is correct. All right. I don't even know how to pronounce half of these.
No, that's going to help.
This is an easy one.
Okay.
Incendio.
I want to say that's a spell from Harry Potter.
And I would say that's correct.
Oh, wait, sorry. For some reason, I thought I was reading the next trivia. Go ahead, sorry. I was getting ready to talk.
Rictus Sempra.
I'm going to say that's a Harry Potter spell.
And you got it again. All right. Tergeo. Tergeo. Tergeo.
Harry Potter spell.
Again, correct.
For the record, these last 2 have been guesses. Or guesses, sorry.
Well, you guess much better than I do.
So, I've got a 50-50 chance, though.
Langlock.
Oh, boy. I'm going to say an animal.
That is a spell. Do a few more.
Okay.
Let's go. Morus Bassanus.
Oh, my God. I'm going to say spell.
That is an animal.
We're having an earthquake.
And I am curious as to what animal that is.
Bassanus? Morris Bassanus.
It is a northern gannet.
I don't even know what a gannet is.
Seabird.
It's okay.
So it just looks like a seagull.
With
Why don't you just say seagull?
Morris Bessanus.
But it's got some crazy looking eyes. I'm gonna start. All right, and I want to know what rodentia is.
Okay, look at that one.
The ones that are animals, I'm just curious as to what animals they are.
Rodentia. It's a pair of teeth that walks around in the freaking wild.
It's just mammals that are rodents. So it's not an actual...
Oh, man, we're morons. We've got, what is it, anthropologists? Are they the...
zoologists.
Zoologists. What is that dude, our listeners are going to be dropping tonight. They don't know what anthropologists and zoologists are. Anthropology is freaking humans. I'm a moron. Well, dang.
All right. Let's go. Evanesco.
Oh, boy. Spell.
Correct.
I've never heard of that one, though.
Let's see.
Where's Aloha I was expecting something like that, or, where's, is Aloha one? Where's,
That is the spell used to break open locks.
Yeah, that's the only one I really know. From the top of my head.
Vernunculus.
Spell.
Yeah. Man, I need to stop picking spells. But I don't... The trouble is, they all look the same, and I can't tell which one's which. Try to pick the ones that seem close. All right. Last one.
Okay.
Orchideus.
Well, I really don't know, but since you said you're going to stop picking spells,
but I don't know which ones they are. Like,
I'm just going to say animal regardless.
And that is a spell.
Oh, what a diversionary tactic. Nice work. Impressive. All right. Well, gee, that was a good one. I like that. That brings us up to the first break. Okay, so first of all, I want to open up by saying, you suckers out there listening, send us in your freaking music. If you got friends that write music, or if you write music, or if you know somebody that might know somebody that writes music, tell them to send their crap into the show. We want to listen to it. We want to play it on the show for you. If not, you're going to force me to play things like this next song, which is 9 Inch Nails, and we've only got about 8 more of those that were on a Creative Commons license that I can use. So, I have no problem playing 9 Inch Nails, but, we want to get your stuff on the show, and we want to hear it, and we want other people to hear it, and may not have quite the following yet, but it's a good place to start, So, with that brings us up to our song then. Like I said, it's by 9 Inch Nails. It's from their album, The Slip. It's actually, The Slip came out right before they went on that huge hiatus, and was actually, I wouldn't call it one of my favorite albums, but it's a very sort of special album because it's the one that did come out right before he took years off to do film scores and stuff like that. So, it was kind of his last little, here's this, and then you thought 9 Inch Nails was going to be done for a while. But they have a couple of really good songs on that album. This is one of my favorites. So we'll play this one. When we come back, we actually have a replacement segment for Health this week. Health isn't going away, guys, but it'll be back. And then we will be talking to Ross Bays about some stuff. Until then, here's some 9 Inch Nails with the song Head Down.
What you looking at? J-E-L-L. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. That's Jell-O.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O pudding.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O tapioca pudding. Yes, sirree.
You are listening to a Fly Science Productions podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. That is one of my favorites from that album.
Good one.
And you know what? The reason I think I like it so much is because it's got a bit of an aggressive beginning to it.
Yeah, it definitely does.
It sounds like it's going to be sort of heavy, but then it kind of does what Trent Reznor does, and he kind of brings it back around into this sort of dark / beautiful, sort of a dark calm to everything, and you're not going to get a fair opinion out of me. I am definitely a Nine Inch Nails fanboy, so everything that he does is amazing to me. But so yeah, there you go. Like I said, I have no problem playing Nine Inch Nails more if I have to, but unfortunately, there's not too many left off that album. So instead of To Health and Back Again this week, we're kind of revamping that. I was in talk with a friend of mine. I grew up next to her. She's, I'm trying to think, a couple years older than me, but she's actually a nutritionist, or at least, knows more about nutrition and health than I do, and I think maybe a little more than Tony does.
Oh, definitely more than that.
Anyone who knows anything knows more than we do, that's for sure. I asked her, hey, would you like to help us with the segment? She said, sure, but she's starting a new job today, actually. So she... I don't know if we're going to be pulling her in as, as sort of a guest, because I think she's going to be working, but she's definitely going to be helping us sort of align our health segment and get it set up. So instead of having health this week, I have a new bumper for us. Here it is. This is for the new segment.
We're having an earthquake.
That's our bumper for PS4 talk. Is what our impromptu segment's going to be this week. It's only a one-time thing. We'll have something health related next week. So chill out, folks. And no, we're not doing Xbox One because Xbox One sucks. Moving on. First thing I noticed about the PS4 when I got it out of the box was that it has no component cable hookups. It is HDMI only, which for most people is not a problem. Most people will be like, Drake, why do you need the component cables? You can just... HDMI is so much easier. And it is if you have the equipment for that. But I have been routing my consoles through my computer for my, to come through my computer speakers, because those are better, for the longest time. And the way I do that is I get the video cables going into the TV, and then those audio cables I can split and send them into my computer. Yeah. Can't do that with HDMI, because it sends audio and video through the same cable into the TV.
So there's happen to have an optical input
on your computer?
For your computer speakers.
What? You say you have one?
No, I'm asking if you have one.
Oh, no, probably not for computers. Let me check. I don't think so. Nope, I don't see it. Okay. No, so basically what that's made me do is now I have to do it in the basement on the TV that Rachel and I usually watch TV on, which she, hasn't cared. And I told her she can tell me whenever to stop, and, we can watch something. But so I've been playing the PS4 down there, but that was kind of a bummer because I set everything up that way. Now the other thing is I do have a second pair of backup speakers that I was going to plug into my TV. I bought them last year. But as it turns out, my TV apparently only has one optical out port, and that's for only has one audio out, and that is the optical out port. So now I have to buy a digital optical cable to route. So I would route everything into my TV, and then route it all back out, because I just saw that I actually have an optical port on my computer. So now I'm going, the sound now will technically be going through 3 different sound cards. It's going to be going through the sound card on the PS4, shooting over the TV, shooting out of the TV, back into my computer. Also, I can play my freaking PS4 upstairs. Wait. That being said, I was kind of surprised.
What's the optical plugging into? Out of the TV, plugging into where?
computer, and so it's plugging into my computer, which will be on the it's on the sound card that's on the motherboard.
Okay, but so why can't you just plug straight PS4 to the PC with optical?
Because first of all,
that's what I was asking in the beginning.
Because I don't think the sound would go through the video card.
What? On the PS4 or on the computer? I'm confused.
Okay, so if I plugged my HDMI into this is going to be nerd talk. This is where half of our listeners just tune out. When I plug the HDMI into the computer, it should send video over. It's also going to send audio, but it's plugged into my video card, I imagine. Because I don't have a regular HDMI port. I would have to get an HDMI to DVI converter and then plug it into my video card, I think. And if that's the case, it won't run through it. I apologize for everyone who's listening in and doesn't give a shit about computers. So that's the technical stuff. I'm figuring it out. We'll figure it out. I did want to talk about how amazing everything looks on it, though, compared to last generation. Now,
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say specifically, I had Dynasty Warriors 8, and we talked about this being the show. I had Dynasty Warriors 8 and Metal Gear Solid 5. I had both of those on a previous console, played the crap out of them, and switched over and bought them for the new system. 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better. Now, Dynasty Warriors, maybe 500 times better. It's a lot better, but it still runs really smoothly. Metal Gear Solid ran like crap, looked like crap on the PS3. I was actually surprised at how crappy it looked and ran. Yeah. And then you get it on the PS4. It runs 60 frames per second, which is fluid motion, and it runs at 1080p resolution. It is amazing how much better it looks. And I mean, it should be a no-brainer. I mean, it's a new console for the next however many years. Of course, it's going to be a lot better. But holy crap! Like it's
going to get better.
Yes,
which is why I don't mind that they didn't include component cables. I get for the audio, but I mean, they're putting so much effort into making it look and sound so great. Like they want you to play it at 1080p with optical sound.
Well,
and HDMI sound.
And see, I think even the component cables would allow 1080p. Some people have told me that you can't get 1080p unless you use HDMI. But because it's not the composite cables. Composite would be like yellow, white, and red.
Yeah.
Component was the 5, which had like green, red, blue,
and then
white.
The audio.
Yeah.
Red and white.
So I was still getting at least some kind of HD. I don't know. That's a whole nother story. It still kind of bothers me, but you're right. And it only gets better if you compare the games that came out for the PS3 like launch, and then compare them to the games that just came out for the PS3. Holy Johnson, it's going to be different. Like it just I don't know. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. Now you also have a PS4.
I did.
Said you got that when?
I got it November 15th, launch day.
Okay, that was about 20 Wednesdays ago.
Yeah.
And you've been liking it as well?
Oh, yeah. Like, I took work off that day.
Nice.
And the next day, it came out of work. Like, I ordered it through Amazon. So I went to UPS over in East Peoria, about 15 minutes away, and picked it up first thing in the morning because I didn't want to be it on any more trucks than it had to be.
Yeah.
And I treated it like my child for a while.
Yeah, so what games do you have for it then?
Right now, well, on launch, when I got it, I got Killzone Shadowfall, Knack, and then Call of Duty Ghosts.
Okay.
And since then, I've bought Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, Battlefield 4, and Madden 25, and Infamous Second Son.
Okay.
I have a lot now that actually
you own, I think, every game that's been out for the PS4, because that's actually one thing is people have been complaining is that there's not enough games out there, and to be honest, there really isn't at the moment. When I went to GameStop's website to search, and I was like, okay, what games do I want? I know I want Metal Gear, I know I want Dynasty Warriors, what else can I get? There is one page. There's no like click here for RPGs, click here for shooters, click here for action adventures. There is one page of PS4 games. Yep. I might have to I have Black Flag on my computer, but it doesn't run at max because it's not super compatible with my video card. I was thinking about getting it for the console. I might have to do that because then we could do some multiplayer or something.
Yeah, it looks pretty slick.
So, okay, graphics, all that kind of crap's awesome. The controller now comes with a touchpad on it. It's a little tiny... A lot of people thought it was going to be, at least from what I know, at least what I thought, was that it was like a little tiny glass screen on it.
Yeah.
It's actually a little plastic screen on the top of the controller. If you just Google PS4 controller, you'll see it. It's in the place where like the top of the controller normally would have been. And it's a pad you can press. So imagine it's basically like a mouse button, because if you press it down on the right side, it does one thing, and if you press it down on the left side, it can do another thing.
Yeah. It's touch sensitive, so you can if you just drag your finger around without pressing anything.
Exactly. Which I noticed Infamous utilizes. So like when you're opening doors, you swipe it to the left and stuff like that. Really cool. Like, I want to see more of that kind of stuff in the game. So small, like, nothing big, but it's such a change in like the immersion and,
Yeah.
It definitely makes a difference, I think.
Yeah, and another, like, my favorite part about the controller is the headphone jack on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's nice to not have to worry about that jank anymore. And it did come with a headset. I don't know how good it is. I haven't used it yet, but or like a little tiny earbud.
Yeah, I usually, if I'm playing, like, online, I just use my Apple headphones.
Okay.
But if I'm just playing a story and I just want to play it quiet, you can just plug any headphones in and send like the game audio.
Can you really? Okay, so I didn't know that.
You can, I'm pretty sure if you hold like the PlayStation home button, you can go device settings and send all audio through the headphone port.
Dang.
So if you just want to play, so you can play it upstairs on your computer screen with any headphones you want.
Yeah, okay, so no, that's a great idea. That was immediately what I went to, was like, shit, well, I can play that upstairs now.
Yeah.
Another cool thing is being able to multitask between applications, which you kind of could do on a PS3, but not very well.
Yeah, it takes a long time to multitask.
Yeah, it would, you try to open up something else, it's lagging forever, the screen takes forever to open, then you try to open up something small like the web or the PlayStation Store, and it just, it's just, we have to close out of this program. Now you can, unless you open up another game or another big application, you can open stuff like the editor or the PlayStation Store while you've got another game running, or go check the web or do something. It basically almost runs like, like an iPad or something, almost like a tablet in the way, or even like a phone anymore.
What does it say? It needs to put it in. No, it's not standby. Shoot, I can't remember.
Suspend the app?
Yeah, it needs to be put in suspension.
Yeah, and so at first I thought, when I heard that, I was like, oh crap, it's going to close out of it. But there's actually a difference. Suspension, suspends it. And then closing would actually close out of it. But yeah, really cool feature. Let's see, you mentioned here background download and install of games and patches.
Yeah, I don't know if it happened to you, but with the PS3, if I wanted to go play a game online I hadn't played in like 2 weeks, fire it up, and there's a 3 gig install it needs before I can play it. That just put me out of the gaming mood altogether.
Right, so you're saying it will update automatically.
Yeah, like you just, there's standby mode and then shut down. If you leave it in standby mode, it leaves like a separate processor running to see if it needs to update anything, and it'll download and install it itself.
That's really cool. I might have to start doing that. That's really neat. That's almost like a computer at that point, which I assume is probably what they're trying to get to. But that's really neat.
With that, if you were to buy a game, like you could buy a game on your computer through the PSN store or a movie, and then it'll instantly tell your PS4 to start downloading.
Right.
So
that is so cool. So you could do that like at work and then come home and it'd be ready.
Yep.
That's man, it's just getting so much better. I also noticed that it seemed like it downloads things a lot faster. Because I have relatively fast internet, but it always seemed to get kind of throttled on the PS3, even like if I used the hardwire. But my computer would always download things 1,000 times faster than a console would. But now it seems like the console downloads things like crazy fast. I about probably the speed that my computer would. So I don't know if you know the science behind
I've noticed with mine, I get better signal strength. Like the Wi-Fi card itself is better in the PS3.
Okay, right.
But there's like no matter where I've been, like if my internet is like 25 megabits a second, like here it'll only be like 10.
Right.
Like on the PS3. So I definitely think it throttles it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
but it doesn't have as much range.
Certain places will do that too. When I try to download games on the computer through Steam, it will always cap at about 7 megabytes per second. So there's a lot of servers will have caps like that. It's also got really easy features for sharing stuff with Facebook, which I've already used a little bit of.
Yeah, like 4 times in one evening, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I could not understand. I haven't played a Dynasty Warriors game in a while, but watching those videos that you posted, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, one of them was a little intense because I had so much going on the screen, but yeah, it was. I'm really enjoying it. I'm actually going to truncate these last couple of notes here, just because I want to get Russ on here. And I think I told him a little bit earlier. Basically, everything's smoother and faster.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a major change, and I think it's great so far. I can't wait to see what else they do because we're really still in the infancy stages. Hasn't even been a year yet, so I'm sure it will clear up and get better, as it goes. So
definitely,
it's got such a strong beginning that I can't wait to see where else it goes. And with that, we will pull Ross Bays, also known as
Put like some of your ham in here.
into the call.
We are the movement that is taking matters into our own hands to instill change in the world, simply by being the change we want to see. It's not about money, politics, or religion. It's about us. Join the groundbreaking movement at karmified.com.
Ross Bays, welcome to the Karmified segment. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing fantastic. What's going on, fellas?
Not much at all. Doing a show, having a good time.
The usual.
So, first of all, I wanted to talk to you. You and I we've talked about games. I don't know how many times, but
yeah.
First thing I know about you is you're not a huge console gamer, except for like exclusives. So that being said, what is your sort of plan, I guess, for the new consoles that have come out? Are you even thinking about getting one? If you are, which one are you leaning towards? Is it something that you're just like, F it, going PC all the way, man?
That's probably what I should do, money-wise, but I think what's probably going to happen is I'm going to wait until prices drop, and then I'll be the guy that waits until, it's down to like $200 like a normal console, and then I'll probably pick them up then. Now, between the PS4 and the Xbox One, I somehow have gotten into this mindset in the back of my head as like I'm collecting all these console games, so when the internet crashes, I still have stuff to play.
Right.
So I'll probably pick up both of them, and I'll just start collecting games again.
Awesome. Yeah, I do. I'm a bit of a game enthusiast, if anyone hasn't been able to tell. I do kind of want to get an Xbox One eventually, but I don't think I'm going to do it anytime soon, just because, I have my personal reasons for why I picked the PS4, but at the moment the PS4 is the best option for me.
So I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I want to play Titanfall and like the new Halos and all their exclusives. But
yeah, we can wait for that. I mean, they'll be there when we get to it.
For me, like I know that I have both an Xbox 360 and a PS3, and the biggest selling point for me, like for some reason I tend to lean towards PS3. I just think it's better myself. Mm-hmm. But when I found out that PS3 or the PS Network is free and the Xbox Gold membership is like $60 a year, I'm like, well, what?
Yeah. Well, hey, Buzzkill, that doesn't happen for the PS4, just to let you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they changed it.
But they throw you some free games.
Yeah, well, and Microsoft's been doing that too. I will still say PS4 is PS4 is still better than the Xbox One, but they changed it. Unfortunately, PS3 it's still free, but
with the PS Plus, it's called PS Plus instead of Xbox Live Gold, whatever.
Yeah.
But it carries over for PS3 and your PS4. Like I have both at the moment, and I had PlayStation Plus before the PS4 was even announced.
Oh, nice.
So I've had it a while, and they like the free games. Like the past few months, I've got Borderlands 2, the new Devil May Cry.
Yeah, they had some great
Batman
ones.
Arkham City, like a bunch of good games. And Payday 2 was a lot of fun. Like all of those were just free from my PS3.
Yeah, and for approximately $5 a month, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I mean, you're paying for them, but
super cheap amounts.
Yeah.
You also get discounts on the store. Occasionally, they'll be like $5 off a game because you're part of. So it's really one of those things. Depends on how you use it. If you're getting your money's back from it.
Yeah, it's definitely upgraded my library because my PS3 now I've probably got close to 50 to 60 disc games and probably 25 digital games from PlayStation Plus.
Nice.
That's insane. So yeah, enough about gaming talk. As much as we'd like to continue with that, that's
always a good time.
That's a whole other show. What have you got for us this week, Ross?
Well, unfortunately today, I don't think today is going to be much of a discussion per se. But you guys feel free to chime in and interrupt me as much as you feel.
I will do that as much as I can.
Good.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. But today I wanted to talk about, well, initially when I started Karmified and I started going through, what the website was about and what the point was, I started having to piece together what the potential taglines would be. And one of them that I came up with back in the day was be better. And the idea of Karmified was that you'd be getting feedback from other people that were sometimes things that maybe they didn't want to say to your face, or maybe they were saying behind your back, but that now there was an outlet that would let you know kind of how you're perceived and what people think of, so that you could take that information. And yeah, it might hurt your feelings at first, but if it's information that could ultimately help you be better, that was what it was about. So that's kind of where I went today. I saw a quote not too long ago that really grabbed my attention, and it said, "It's never too late to be who you could have been." And I thought, like, that's pretty intense. And like, if you think about it, you think about how many times, I don't know if you guys are like me, but there's multiple times a week where I just kind of have to sit down and sit in the quiet and think about where I'm going, what I'm doing, what my goals are, and kind of get that introspective view. You know what I mean? Do you guys do that, or am I weird?
No, I would say honestly, that's probably most of a lot of what I do. I got a lot of inside voices, kind of doing it all the time. But yeah, no, I agree. It's always kind of analyzing, where am I now? Am I happy? Where do I want to be? Where did I want to be?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Everybody's striving for something different.
Yeah. And I think once we stop striving for something different or something better, I think it's when we hit the stagnant point and we plateau for who knows how long, So today I wanted to tell a story that I've told pretty much every week where I teach. I teach for the Department of Defense, and one of the classes that I teach is mindset. And the idea is to get people thinking about the world that we live in and what the dangers are. And if something does happen to you that could be bad or completely traumatizing, like how do we get through that? So mindset and how we perceive things is very, very important. So I want to backtrack to 2011. My life was kind of falling apart really, really quickly. And, businesses were going down the tubes and work wasn't going well. And of course, me as any self-respecting male, I'm going to do how I handle this. I'm going to eat my feelings, every day. I'm just going to eat my feelings. And so I started gaining weight really, really fast. And I started gaining all of the weight back that I had lost in the last couple of years. And I got to a point where I said, I don't finish anything that I start. I am completely miserable, and now my perception of myself is starting to affect my marriage. I need to do something to get out of this hole, and I can't expect somebody else to save me. This is on me. This is my responsibility.
Right.
So I realized that I needed to take some big boost for my life, and I needed to push myself out of that hole. So I decided to register for a running race. And I thought that would be a good boost. You know, it's a good community of people that run and take care of each other, and there's good motivation. It's not too competitive. So I sign up for a 34-mile race in the mountains.
Jeez, ew.
And it's not bad enough that it's 34 miles in the mountains. It's that from the time that I register for it, the race is 30 days later.
Oh, boy. Plenty of time to prepare.
Yeah. So my wife, of course, is like, okay, so why don't you just do a 5K or a 10K like a normal person? And I thought to myself, and I told her, I said, well, if I do what everybody else is doing, it's not big enough for me. Like, I need to be doing something huge so that when I face the speed bumps that will inevitably come, I know that if I push through those and I succeed, it'll be worth it. You know, for me, just running 3 miles or 6 miles is not big enough for me to push through the pain, push through the, you know what I mean?
Right, because the end is in sight. You can see it. So, 34 miles, those first 33 are going to be rough.
I get you. So I registered for this race and started quote unquote training. And within a week, 2 weeks, I was trying to eat better and I'm trying to do these runs and whatever. And I started reading a couple books throughout the training period where these ultra marathon runners that had done these 100 milers, 200 milers, 500 milers were talking about how ultra marathon running is really nothing more than, well, not nothing more than, but there's a lot to it. But when it comes down to it, you have to learn to run and keep going when you are absolutely miserable. So that's what I decided. Okay, that's going to be my mindset. I'm going to try to eat right. I'm going to learn how to do this, how to fuel my body, how to train my muscles, all that stuff. So I trained hard. By the time that I stepped up to the starting line of this race, I already had a stress fracture in my foot. I had, my knees were shot out. My back was destroyed. And I was in a lot of pain. This is stepping up to the starting line.
Good Lord.
Yeah. It was in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, and there were about 200 other runners around me, all with their headlamps on. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I had no sleep the night before because I was absolutely terrified. And really, it was just me in the hotel. I could have said, you know what? This is just stupid. I'm just going to go home. But I said, you know what? If I don't do this, I'm just going to keep quitting everything for the rest of my life. I have to change something today. So I showed up to the starting line, and this guy gave a big motivational speech in the beginning, and we took off. Well, all these guys are taking, and I look around. I'm clearly the fattest person there by 50 pounds easily.
Right.
And we take off up the hill. It's pitch black. You can see the occasional flashlights. And within the first mile, I'm already in last place. And I'm all by myself in the darkness. And it's on this dirt road. We hit the first aid station, which is a mile up the hill. And I thought, first aid station, I got this. This is easy.
Right.
But by the time the second aid station came around at about 3 miles, 4 miles, I was hurting. And the thing about the mountains is that the whole course was like 4,000 feet up, 4,000 feet down, 4,000 feet up, 4,000 feet down. So there was a lot of climbing and a lot of descent.
Not to mention the differences in air pressure and just thinning out.
I didn't feel it as much as I thought I would, but it was still something that I had to consider.
Sure.
So I got to 10 miles, and there was this huge aid station there, and they had donuts and pizza and cake, and I thought, why am I running? Why didn't I just volunteer?
I am done.
But I got to the 10 miles, I grabbed a bunch of snacks and took off. Just like clockwork, at mile 13, my calves tightened up and would not let go. I was terrified. I actually fell down the hill at one point, and they wouldn't let go. And I thought, I'm at mile 13. Like, I have way too long to go to be dealing with this.
I'm only 33% of the way through.
Yeah. And but I had no choice. So I kept going. I kind of, stumbled my way down and made to the next aid station. And there came a point where I was in so much pain from dehydration and muscle cramps and just pain of doing what I was doing that my face started to cramp up into that face that looks like you're going to cry, but you just can't help it. It was
right.
But I kept going, and I made it to what I remember was the 25-mile mark. And I thought, well, this is just about marathon distance. And it's in the mountains. I really didn't train. This is an accomplishment. I should just stop here. But I thought, no, I need to at least go to the next one and see how I'm doing. So I stumbled and limped and cried my way to the next one. And I'll never forget, at the aid station at 29 miles, I literally crawled into the aid station. And this young kid came over and grabbed me, and he kind of pulled me up into the chair, and he looks at me, and I look like just hell. I'm
right.
And he looks at me, and he's like, "How you doing, Chief? You doing all right?" And I was like, I'm hurting, bro. I don't know if I can do this. He's like, "Hey, I got something for you." So he goes over and he grabs this big old Krispy Kreme donut, and I was like, "Yeah, there it is." He dips it in like a bucket of salt and gives it to me, and I'm like, "What? What? That's blasphemy! You don't do that to a Krispy Kreme." But I eat it, and I take his word for it. And then as I finish the donut, I look up at him, and I realize that all I have to do to make this pain stop is say, "Runner 123, I'm done." And I can get in the pickup truck, and I'll get driven back down to the parking lot. I'll get in my car, and I'll drive the 4 hours home, and I never have to see these people ever again. No one's ever know the difference. But as I look up at him and I start to mouth these words, he looks at me and he's like, "Don't do it. Don't say it." And I was like, "No, dude, you don't understand." And I was about to start spitting out every excuse that I could think of and every reason why I wasn't able to finish what I started. And I wanted to tell him, like, "Hey, dude, you don't get it. Like, I'm still overweight, and I've only been running for a month, and I didn't train, and I've got a stress fracture." But I didn't get any of that out. He said, "Listen to me. You have two choices. You either stand up and you walk into the woods and you go to the next aid station, or you just sit right here and you quit. And then tomorrow you quit. And the next day you quit." And I was like, wow, like this dude is smart for a high schooler, you know? Like
right.
he called. I thought, wow, he's absolutely right. Like, he doesn't know what my story is. He doesn't know what I've been up against. And really, he's absolutely right. I either have the choice to get up and go forward and just take the chance that maybe I will fall down and won't get back up. I have no idea. Or I just keep quitting everything for the rest of my life. So I stood up and I started walking to the wood line. And he says, "Now, the good news is you have one more aid station, and then it's 2 miles down the hill to the finish line." And I was like, whoa. He's like, "The bad news is the next 3 miles are what we call the stairs." And I was like, oh,
God.
I knew exactly what that meant because I did my research on the race, and it was literally stairs that were built into the side of the mountain so you could get up. Yeah. So I got to the point where I realized he couldn't see me anymore, and I just fell down. I just fell down. And cried a little bit, and I think at one point I either fell asleep or I passed out. I have no idea. But I came to laying in the dirt, and I told myself that the next runner that I see that passes me, I'm going to tell them to go get a medic and come back and get me because I can't go any further. Well, lo and behold, as luck would have it, the universe is talking to me. Nobody shows up.
Oh, boy.
So I have no choice but to keep on trucking. I'm crawling, I'm walking, I'm literally picking my legs up with my arms and trying to get up these steps. What seems like forever passes, and I see this big banner on these trees, and I thought, oh man, did I get lost? Am I in the wrong spot? Well, as I crest the hill, I realize it's the last aid station.
Oh, wow.
It was like a whole rejuvenation. So I take off with a renewed hope down the hill, and I end up limping and just pathetically making my way through the finish line, and I finished. There was a 10-hour cutoff to complete these 34 miles. I came in at like 9 hours and 42 minutes.
Good Lord, that's close.
That's a boy.
And let me tell you, like, I had no idea what the time was. I was just trying to get to the end. I didn't know. I knew it wasn't going to look pretty. I knew I wasn't going to win the race, but I just had to get to the end. And most people that do this kind of thing, they're actual runners. Like, they train for this. They do it right. They're the ones that should be respected in what they do because they stick to it.
Right.
I'm the idiot that does train and just decides to suffer for 9 hours and 42 minutes on my own.
That's still quite an accomplishment, though. Like, you mentioned this just sort of briefly in passing, I think a week or two ago, and I am still shocked. at just the dedication and that's impressive, man. I mean, I usually bring this up when we talk about running, and I talk about how I hate long distance because I was always a sprinter in high school. So you learn to sprint 100 meters, and even 200 meters seems long because that's twice as long as you're, training for. 34 miles, man. That's just, not to mention even the conditions, the terrain. I mean,
yeah, it was just straight up stupid is what it was.
Possibly a little bit, but
yeah, and I'm a sprinter too. Like when I was a kid, that's all I did. I would challenge anybody, regardless of size or age. I was a sprinter, and I'm not built like a runner at all. I mean, I'm short and stocky, and I'm just dense.
Right.
But so I crossed the finish line, and I got my T-shirt, grabbed some water, I got in the car, and just drove home, and that was it. Nothing, not a word was ever said about it.
I'm surprised you could even drive.
Well, I had a couple points where I had to stop. Don't get me wrong. I stretch the seat back and stretch out all my muscles. It was
right.
bad. But that moment when I reached the finish line, I remember the race director giving me the T-shirt, and he said, "Wow, you came in just under the wire." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm just happy I crossed the finish line." He said, "Well, you know what? Train harder, come back next year, beat your time." And as I walked away, I was kind of thinking like, that's not what it was about for me.
Right.
I mean, I want to be better, sure, but this for me was about just doing what I set out to do. So as I drove home, I felt like a whole new person because regardless of what I was up against and regardless of how much it hurt, I knew that if I didn't stick to this and I didn't go for what I set out to do, that I was just going to be the same guy when it was all said and done. If the challenge itself was what shut me down and I had no choice but to just stop for the sake of my own health and my own well-being, then that's what happens. The challenge beat me. I'm going to have to find a different way to do it, or I'll have to do it, 60 days from now or a year from now like normal people.
Right.
But I wanted to tell this story because, tagging along with the quote of "it's never too late to be who you could have been," like I was at a point in my life where everything was bad. I was getting beaten by everything that I went up against, and I just quit. And it took a challenge like this for me to push through and know that I had the capability to be who I wanted to be. Now, that whether that was fit or just someone who finished what he started or someone that could face the pain of what he was up against and still do it, still be successful. That moment changed me up until this point. I mean, granted, it's 3 years later. I still have a whole bunch of life left, but everything that I've done up to this point since then has been different. It's been viewed different. I've attacked it different. And even when I face these speed bumps and these challenges of what I try to do, whether it's with business or with work or some type of project that I have on the side, I've realized that I need to give it 100%, because if my habit is to always give it 100%, that just becomes who I am. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to do anything, And Jake, I've talked to you a number of times about, like we talk about the show and we talk about what your goals are. And that I'm a big believer in, you have to set just huge, unrealistic goals so that you have the big picture in mind and you're willing to go through the speed bumps and the walls and the pain, because you think, it's not going to be easy, but you have to use those baby steps every day to at least take one more step to accomplish what you want.
Yeah, as long as you're moving forward, instead of staying in place, because it's so easy to look at it and say, well, it's there, I have it. But if you're not making steps toward it, you're not making progress, and that seems so. It seems so, well, duh. If you're not moving forward, you're not making progress. But I don't think people actually realize what that means. No, it doesn't matter how freaking close your goal is. If you're not making an effort to attain it, even in the slightest way possible, you might as well not even have the goal set, because you're not getting any closer to it.
Yep. And it's like they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Well, how do you run 34 miles when you haven't really trained for it? One foot in front of the other. You know what I mean? Like every project that you want to accomplish, everything that you want to go for in your life, it literally is just one foot in front of the other until you reach that, period. No excuses, no crying, just push through and go for it.
Well, I gotta say, like, the recounting of that, not even taking the quote unquote the message into account, is first of all just a truly amazing story. But the message that does come with it is, I mean, sort of proof that it can be done when you set your. I mean, you could say it as many times as you want. You tried to quit, and people want to do it so bad. I remember. It's been a while now, so unfortunately I don't have the motivation anymore. But I remember when I went up for my black belt test for martial arts, and it was something that we came in at noon, right? Midday, got ready for the test, and it's straight up for the next 12 hours. You going through everything you've ever learned in the last, for me, it had probably been about 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
Actually, you know what? It probably might have been a little bit longer, because I think I started when I was around 7 years old, and I didn't go up until I was about 16 or 17. So, and I started as a kid, so that's why I put a lot of time in before I actually took my test, because I was one of the younger people. I think there was a couple other people that were younger than me that got their black belts, but a couple of us were part of like a sort of the younger group. Anyways, it's all irrelevant. And you spend that time doing these years and years and years of what you've learned, and now it's together, and this is it. This is the thing where once you pass that mark, you've stepped into that zone where you're like, all right, this is just the beginning of a new adventure.
Yeah.
And you've got people sitting on a panel being like, what the hell do you think you're doing out there? They're trying to, they're not trying to berate you, negatively. They're trying to put obstacles in your course to strengthen you, to give you something that you have to go over to then build yourself up and show that you can actually do this. They're actually doing you a favor by being jerks.
Yeah.
During your test, Rachel and I talked about it. It's a lot like when people present their thesis, they sort of tear apart your thing, and you have to defend it because they want you to be competent enough with what you know.
Right.
And I remember that being, sort of like one of those defining moments, after 12 hours of physical whatever, and just being so sick and tired of people bitching at you and telling you you're doing the wrong thing, and but still persevering, keeping straight with it. You can't break down, you can't say sorry, you just say sorry sir, and you keep going, you keep moving with it. Yep. You don't whatever. And then sitting in that car as my parents drove me home, just feeling like I basically just died, and I felt like I was in this huge astral projection, like looking down at my body, just like, oh my God, what had just happened? It's one of those moments similar. I definitely was not running 34 miles, and but it is one of the there's my 2 cents, at least as far as like something that really changes you. But then of course, if you're like me and you let it get away from you, it can be a fight then occasionally to have to deal with it. You have to keep up with that momentum and do what you said, which is take small steps every day towards, trying to attain what you've set out for yourself.
Yeah, and see, what you're talking about, I think, is more respectable than the crap that I've just laid out for the last 15 minutes, because, like, you actually started at a young age, which is hard to stick to something when you're that young. But you stuck to it for years upon years. Here I am 3 years later. I'm not running anymore. Right. I mean, I'm still working out, but I'm not running. But for me, it was the boost that I needed.
Right. Part of it goes to my parents for making me go to martial arts to start. It was because I was a freaking ADHD kid that was running all around the place being psycho, and that, what do you do with kids that have attention deficit disorder? Well, you try to self-discipline them, and that's, you get that from...
Give me a drum set.
Yeah, well, and guess what? You're an awesome drummer because of it. So, hey, it all works out for everybody in the end. Well, yeah, you know what? I loved your story, Ross. I appreciate you for bringing that on and kind of changing up. It was kind of a nice, didn't have to get too deep, but sort of still motivational, still learn something and get something from it. Because, there are times when it comes up to me and I have big aspirations, man. Like, I've talked to you about them. I've talked to Tony about them. I like working on film stuff. I like working with music. Hell, I like working with podcasts and radio and broadcasting. And there's so many things that, people want to do. That may not even necessarily be that. Maybe you just want this awesome freaking job and you have to go to school for it in order to get that, the degree or something. It's, you set those goals for yourself, and sometimes it's hard to continue, but you just have to sort of sometimes, you throw yourself in the fire because you have to find a way to out. Otherwise, if you don't inject yourself into that situation, sometimes it's just not going to come and fall in your lap. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Really great. I appreciate you coming on the show as always. Karmified's a great segment. Kind of sobers us all up, and after a good time of goofy fun and
the buzzkill.
No, not at all. So awesome. Well, thank you for coming on again, Ross, this week. And actually, you know what? I'll leave that for later on. I'm just secrets, everybody. There are secrets in the works here. Thank you for coming on. And
all right, thanks, guys.
Can't wait to see what we've got for you next week. Man.
Thanks.
Oh, and hold on. I just hung up on everybody. Let's call Tony back. Tony, are you there?
You just hung up on me?
I hung up on everybody. Usually I click off his name, and I forgot to do it. I just hit the big cancel button, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, shit, I lost everybody. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of the show. Tony, if people want to help out, what can they do as far as helping out with the show, helping us grow and become better?
Yeah, basically, like every week, telling your friends and family, just listening to the show, getting more listeners is obviously just a big thing. We like doing our podcast, and we like people that like our podcast.
Oh, definitely.
So
it helps. You know what?
Share it. We're on social media. What?
I was saying, it really helps with sort of the community feel of it. We like doing this.
Yeah.
So we, whether we have one listener or two listeners, I mean, it's still going to be fun for us, but it's so much more fun if we've got a billion people out there tuning in and sending their ideas into the email, sending in their music and, everything else. And, how did this affect you today? How'd you like Karmified and blah, blah, blah. We like having that community out there. So, it's not just, we want to be famous and have all these listeners. That's part of it. The other part of it is just that we like having lots of fun with this.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Can you hear me now, Tony?
Stop you. A little bit. It's fuzzy.
Is it fuzzy?
You were cutting out. It was just straight.
Well, that sucks.
It's fuzzy now, but I can hear you.
Nice and fuzzy. Technical difficulties.
This is the end of the show, not the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's not the worst, but
there you go.
Am I sounding all right?
Oh, yeah.
What the freak? Freaking internet, Verizon. Okay, so, email in your music, guys. Do all that other kind of crap. Hey, sponsor us. Send us $5, and you can say something on the show. Normally I say go ahead and sponsor stuff like a website. Stuff like that, stuff that, normally gets sponsored. But, if you just want to say something nice, if you want to say something funny, if you want to say a joke, email it into the show. Send us, the $5 for your sponsorship. We'll say it on the show for you. You can follow me on you can follow me on Twitter at RedefineJack. I actually don't really do much aside from retweeting what the show posts at the moment. So, I'm pretty boring there. Tony, where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter as well, at Tony DePalma51. Tony, common spelling, DePalma, like the actor, or the director, rather, and then 51.
Is there a director, De Palma?
Brian De Palma, Scarface.
I wouldn't have had a clue. I've never even seen Scarface.
Well, if you don't know Brian De Palma, DePalma. There we go. Just get that out there.
As it sounds. Excuse me. You can follow the show at STM Podcast. I tweet stuff, I think, just prepping the show and getting it ready. So if you're ever uncertain whether or not we're going to have a show, you can always... Excuse me. Good Lord. That caffeine, man. That coffee is coming back on me. Can always check the Twitter and everything else like that. Check our website, streamthemachine.com. Get new episodes there. This one will probably, hopefully, be posted later today, assuming we did not have any issues like we did last week. I want to say thank you to Ross Bays for the awesome Karmified segment every week. Thank you to Tony Thanks for being my awesome co-host, man. Want to thank the United States federal and Virginia state governments for my tax returns. They allowed me to get my PS4. Also, a big shout out to Wells Fargo for charging me twice on my PlayStation Plus subscription.
That's nice of them.
Yes, it was. I contacted support about it, and Sony says they only see one charge, so that means that Wells Fargo, for some reason, processed it twice. So thank you. I'll have to get that figured out this week. I can come back next week, be episode, actually, then don't say 5, should be episode 6. We'll type that in there, not that it matters. Come back next week, 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 good Lord. Central, not Pacific. There's a huge black hole of time space in there. For episode 6, we'll have more stuff to talk about. Now we're going to end the show with actually a Illinois local band. The band name is Black Math. They're described as a dark wave. Trying to think of what other descriptors they used. Dark wave is what I'm going to stick with. It's definitely sort of a different genre of something. I wanted to pull something different on the show, especially since they were local from Chicago, back home. They also call it lo-fi. It's, like, when I say garage rock, do you know what I'm talking about? Sort of like a low fidelity, not like super high studio quality.
Yeah, kind of grungy.
Yeah. Now this isn't that, but it's on like the side. It's on that same kind of side of, not super heavy studio, but anyways, Black Math. The song is called Reckless Thoughts. It's from their album Counterfeit Unrealities. Local from Chicago. And I guess that that's the end of our show, man. Look at that. We will see you guys next week. Thanks again, Tony, for coming on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We will see you guys next week.
put like some of your ham in here.
I have no idea how that happened.
And that's the end of it. Oh, so I chopped up there towards the end.
Yeah, it's like right when I was talking about we like doing the show, when we like people liking our show, and then when you started talking, it was just good. Like it started off really fuzzy, and I was going to say something, then it just like cut everything out.
Yeah, you can always cut in on the show if you have to, because if I don't want to sit there and ramble in a bunch of broken speech. Luckily, the recording should be fine, because it records, I think, my raw input here, and not,